Side Alliance is Metcalf-Fisher. Mo, how bad is the problem? Because people think when they think countryside, it's idyllic, it's lovely, you can leave your car unlocked.
Yeah, well, that's unfortunately not the case in a lot of parts of the countryside. You know, things have changed and criminals have moved out of the big cities and towns. And I think when we talk about rural crime, what we're not talking about is some sort of cheeky yokel stealing eggs from a chicken coop. That's not what we're talking about. Or this is a lot more serious. It's linked to organised crime. Be it UK crime gangs or further afield, actually international, including in Europe. And we've been seeing lots of reports. There's been lots of studies. Durham University conducted a big one last year, which found that Eastern European crime gangs were among those coming into the UK for short periods of time to carry out a number of hits and send that machinery back to Eastern Europe.
So hang on, just so they target a village or a farm?
In most cases, they're actually targeting farms.
Right, and they're stealing the very expensive
machinery, which, you know, to most people in the street wouldn't be of much use, but I mean, the suggestion has been, for example, in Leicestershire, the crime commissioner there suggested that it could be actually going into Russia, because, of course, Russia has had sanctions.
Steal a tractor, they move so slowly.
Yeah, well,
that's... Not like you can get moved.
I think that's a good point, but it just highlights the extent and speed to which these people work. So we've been calling for a number of years now for much more vigorous and regular checks on the borders to make sure these things going over in containers.
So what do they get them in? They get them off the farm and then get them in a lorry, and spirit them away.
Very quickly.
Amazing. And they're doing it at night.
In a lot of cases, yes. Yeah. But when we're talking about rural crime, it's your agri and machinery theft. It's also fly tipping. You know, we're talking about Birmingham. In some places in the countryside, you know, that's a regular scene. People just using unlicensed waste collectors to chuck rubbish everywhere. You know, we're talking just about a cigarette butt. We're talking about industrial scale waste just dumped on a farmer's land, and actually the farmer has to pay to have that removed. Yeah. So not only is it an environmental and health hazard to them, they've also got to pay for that. Now, police are trying really hard to clamp down on it, but at the end of the day, it's money, it's resources, and if you've got two coppers turning up, you know, 8 hours after a crime's been committed, that machinery's probably already gone. So we want to see really robust policing, increased criminal sentences. I want to see the gang smashed, quite frankly. And
you sound like Keir Starmer.
They were going to smash the people smuggler gangs. That's gone well.
Well, yeah. Well, we got to. Well, that's one thing, but yeah, no. I want to see it because I've seen what it's doing to people on the ground. You know, if you think about the level of nonsense that farmers have to put up with on a day-to-day basis, the fact that they're actually risking their lives, having to defend their property and spending huge sums of money to protect their property. And they're fighting this alone in most cases.
Well, stay there with us, Mo, because we're going to talk to a farmer now. Karina Casini is a farmer who has been a victim of rural crime. Karina, morning.
Good morning. How are you?
We're good. Now, where is your farm? What part of the world are you in, Karina?
So we're outside Marlborough in Wiltshire.
Right. And what's happened to you? Are you being targeted by gangs?
We've lost Karina's sound. She was talking.
Now in the last 8 months. Machinery taken included Honda quad bike, hand tools, you know, what I call the more expensive hand tools, such as, you know, the trimmers, the chainsaws and so forth. And the worry is that according to the police, who have always been supportive but can't do much about what's happening, is that once you're on their target list, they'll wait for you to repeat or repurchase the items and then come back again.
Oh,
and
no.
we've had that now twice in a row, to a point where now we're struggling to find insurance for the property and the contents. And and not knowing what to do, because we believe that in 6 months' time we've just repurchased all the items that were stolen. It's just going to be a repeat exercise on a 6-monthly basis.
Do you have CCTV and anything like that? And where is other stuff sort of secured somewhere where people would have to unlock
secure.
or break?
So we've always we followed the advice of the police on these occasions. We've installed floodlights everywhere. Barns are secured with sort of locking mechanisms, with sort of sensors when doors are open and so forth. The CCTV, I've been told, is not really a deterrent. What you'll just have the luxury to see is your items being nicked on camera, with the police very often too late to come and do anything about it.
But at least you'll see what they look like.
Or are they wearing masks?
Or
it's black hoodies, and very often in sort of stolen vehicles. So whatever number plate you can read is of insignificance to the police or to try to track the individuals.
What do you want to see happen? We're talking to the Countryside Alliance. I mean, how can the police help you prevent this happening again?
The problem is that there is very little element for the police to go on, because unless they are caught in the act or the item that they have stolen can be retraced somewhere. But very often, as highlighted, those items, by the time you wake up at 7 in the morning and realise that the theft has taken place, are on a ferry to Dover, to Calais. So, it's not a question of finding them in sort of local markets or on eBay here in the UK. They're gone. They're not here. So I think it's a question of increasing the police and having police which is much more presence on the roads. Sadly, the countryside here in the UK is a vast area, and it's going to take a lot of effort to sort of get that.
Sure. Karina, thank you for that. That's Karina Casini, a farmer in Wiltshire. So that's clearly a fairly typical story, Mo.
It is. It's one that we've heard many times before.
What about booby traps? You have to booby trap it. That's the only way.
Well, you could do. I mean, farmers will probably come up with their own methods to catch these people, but at the end of the day, what we need is police to be working together, because in some cases, for example, on hare poaching, which involves, sending dogs to chase after hares for sport, it can sometimes happen over 2 borders. So it could be happening in Essex, and then you call Essex police, and then suddenly they're over in Suffolk. And it's luckily, in that case, what they're doing is combined working. But we need that across the board for all crimes. And I've just seen, as I was waiting to come on today, London losing police officers.
Nearly 2,000.
It doesn't signal well for us, does it? We're struggling to get 2 out in some cases. So we just need to see this taken seriously. The government have given us £800,000 towards it, which, is good. It's a step in the right direction. That's only for 1 year. We need that multi-year commitment.
Doesn't cover many acres, does it? £800,000.
Not a huge amount, no.
All right. Mo, lovely to talk to you. Thank you very much for talking.